Welcome to the SheShed. I am super excited to have you here today. We are excited to bring more information about sexual assault awareness. As you all are aware, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, but the awareness don't stop there. We have to keep this in front of everyone because sexual assault is one of those things that we don't want to talk about. I mean, let's just be real. It's not something that we are going around and, yelling about because it's such a sensitive subject for so many people. As a survivor myself, I know it took me a long time to be able to even say those words that I was assaulted. It was a lot of times where I pushed away the idea that someone had mishandled me in that kind of way. And there was even more hard because I blamed myself for a lot of it. But through healing, through prayer, and through counseling, I was able to realize that it wasn't my fault. And so if you are watching this and you are sitting there thinking that somehow whatever was done to you, and realize that sexual assault is not just rape, it can be things, molestation. It can be forcing you to do things that you don't want to do. It can be someone telling you that if you don't do certain things that they're going to hurt you. Those are all forms of sexual assault. And I need for you to understand that it could be someone showing you or sending you pictures of themselves that you did not ask for. That is a form of assault. And I need us to not get so focused on the physical and the to where we just think that it is someone forcing themselves on a person, and that is sexual assault, because it's so much more than that. And so that's one of the things that I do with my nonprofit is I bring awareness so that you, the community, understand and know what abuse really is, and so that we can stop normalizing misbehavior. And so this podcast, the She Shed podcast for the month of April, is being sponsored by Build Her Collaborations. And I encourage you all to go over to the Facebook page and join. Because here's the thing, the more people that we have on that page, the more community credit we have, and the more things that we are able to do, the more finances that we are able to receive. So if you haven't hit that like button, I implore you to go over and hit the like button so that we can continue to do the work that we do. We offer a um, domestic violence simulation training, which gives information to the community about what it is for victims of domestic violence, and realize sexual assault is part of domestic violence, which is why I am so adamant about pushing everything I can to make sure that it is out there, it is aware, we're aware of it. We also offer a training for those that want to be advocates for survivors. And if you're interested in that, I implore you to also connect with me so I can get you set up in the training so that you can become an advocate. Okay, that's all the housekeeping stuff I have. But I had to go there because the y'all know I say all the time that statement or that quote that comes from Dreamer Fields, build it and they'll come, that's a lie. No, you have to build it, tell them you built it, show them how to get there, and then they will come. So I wanted to show you how to get to the things that I'm doing. But tonight I'm super excited because I have my friend Carlie Ann. She is in the She Shed. She is coming in with to share her story and her survival and her testimony, and provide us with all the things and information that could be beneficial to you. But the truth of the matter is, y'all get to sit in on two girlfriends having a conversation. It just happens to be we let y'all in. So Carlie Ann is a domestic violence and sexual assault advocate. She is the author of Are You Better Than? I'm interested in hearing about this book, y'all. And then she's a life coach that focuses on self-development and self-love. and she is the pastor and founder of Divine Harmony Ministries. So I'm going to bring her in, and we're going to get started with this conversation. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey,
Well, I just want to say thank you for agreeing to be a part and to come into the She Shed and have a conversation with me. Um, it's when you're talking about um, sexual trauma or sexual abuse or anything, it takes bravery. Let's just be real. It's not something that everybody's walking around with a sign on their chest saying, I'm a survivor. That's just not how it works. But before we get there, if I gave like the highs of who you are, but can you tell the people who you are in your own words?
hello, I am Charlie Ann. I am an advocate and I am a voice to those that are scared to speak out. I want to let everybody know that you have a voice and your voice needs to be heard. Don't be silent, speak out, and there's people that need to hear your testimony. They need to hear what you've been through because when you speak, you save someone else.
That's true. Every time we open our mouths as a woman, we give another woman permission to speak. And
Yes, to let them know it's okay.
yeah, and I wish that more of us would realize that our story don't make us small; it makes the community bigger.
That's
And
right.
so we just need to do a better job, in my opinion. All of us, all of us. Okay, so you we was having a conversation and you were starting to tell me about your tell me your survival story, and I was like, you know what, let's leave it for the She Shed because people need to know, people need to hear, and I want to be one of those people. So you can pick up wherever you desire and tell us about your story and where it was, where you at, and where you going.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I was a bubbly little girl. Um, Daddy's girl. Um, Everybody loved that little girl with the twinkle in her eye. My birth name is Star. And so I was that star
Mm,
until I was 9 years old and I was molested by a family member.
mm,
After being molested, being raised by older people, and um, you don't say certain things, you keep it hush hush, you keep it quiet. I fell into a shell and I no longer had a voice.
mm,
But because of the hurt and the pain and the emotions and the mental anguish that I was going through, not understanding what I was going through, then I just became silent.
mm,
And more than anything, I became enraged.
mm,
I
mhm,
had anger.
mhm, mhm,
I started to get in trouble and I started to fight. And it didn't help where my mother wasn't a safe haven or someone that I could talk to.
mhm, mhm,
And so now I write all the time and I listen to music. And then when I was 13, I was raped by my mother's boyfriend. So that changed me completely. I used to pray to God, why is this happening to me?
mhm,
Why am I a magnet for people to do mean stuff to me?
mhm,
And so as time went on, I couldn't take it. So at the age of 13, I took a knife and I slit my wrist. I wanted out. And upon wanting out, I'm still here.
yes.
And I'm wondering to asking God, why are you doing this to me?
Mm,
So now I'm lost over and over again and I run away. So in me running away at the age of 13, being a young girl, that opened up so many doors that I wasn't ready for.
mhm,
So now I'm on the street and I'm prey to the enemy.
Mm.
And he was coming at me every which way possible. And I'm not understanding why. So I was just lost out there in a world that was evil, was heartless, and you have these vultures,
Mm.
which I call them males, not men, adult males that now preys on young women.
Mm-hmm.
So I got lost in a life of sex, drugs, stripping, prostitution. So now I'm even deeper in bondage. So I'm a young girl and I don't know what to do. And every which way that I go, I'm trying to find that security of love, that security of safety. But everybody that says they love me, it comes with a fist, you know? So mentally, emotionally, I'm messed up.
Mm.
Then one night, my ex, we were driving and he pulled over to this golf cart course and he told me, when I kill you, this is where I'm going to bury you.
Mm.
And I said something to my sister about it and told her, if y'all ever cannot find me, this is where I would be. And my sister told my father, and my father got into it with him. But because I was, I don't know, it was a question mark with me. When I saw my father beat him to a pulp and he was leaving and he told me to come, and then my daddy telling me to stay, I went.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the next time he jumped on me and beat me, I said to myself, I have to leave. I can never come back again. And I left and I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. And so now I'm 19, I'm pregnant, and I'm on the street. And it was like there was no way out. So it was like I was on a hamster wheel,
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
running with nowhere to go, running with nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept saying, God, God, that was my foundation. That was my whole thing. That's what kept me saying a lot of times when I was in the process of losing my mind
Mm, mm, mm.
because the enemy was on me.
Yeah. So you said so much. I want to help people and realize exactly what you're saying right now, because that is exactly how it happens. We get into this vicious cycle. Are we back?
Yes.
Okay. We get into this vicious cycle of thinking that, there's no way out. And we blame ourselves and all the things. And that's exactly what you're saying right now. It's like, it was a as you said, a hamster wheel. So at 19, you're pregnant with your first child. And did what was a turning point?
There really wasn't a turning point at that time. I was stuck. I have my baby, and when I have my baby, now my boyfriend that I have is 30 years older than me. And money ruled that relationship. So now I'm in captivity, and to me, I'm a sex slave. So he provides for us, he makes sure that we're okay, long as I perform and do as need be. So now it's not just a physical thing, it's a mental, emotional thing, and I'm stuck.
Or you feel stuck? Because are you stuck?
At that time, I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't know any other way because also with my foundation growing up, it was like I was camouflaged to do certain things. So I just put on a front for
Hmm.
everybody. You know,
Yeah.
everybody's thinking that I have it, everything's all good, but people don't know what you go through behind closed doors or mentally when you're by yourself.
That's
And at
true.
that time, I didn't realize that I didn't love me. I didn't care about me. I didn't know my worth. I didn't know my value.
Hmm.
So many people would say, "Oh, you're so beautiful." That means nothing because the beauty comes with pain. The beauty comes with hurt. The beauty comes with self sacrificing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, over and over again, I make these choices of someone say they love me because I want to be loved and I want to be secure. So, it's just to me a trap after a trap after a trap, not understanding that I am the ringleader of my own life. And until I come to terms and identify what's going on, it's gonna continue.
Mm. Yeah, but the thing about that though, would you say, now, the coaching and, being on the other side of that pain, would you say that you were groomed to believe
Yes,
that there was a lot of, yeah,
yes, grown from the
those
beginning. Yes, grown from the beginning. And when you deal with people that are master manipulators, when you deal with people that know basically how to handle you in these situations to get what they want. And so my turning point was when I started going to therapy. And I was like, this was no life for me. But at this time, I'm stuck in this marriage. And so I decided to go to therapy for myself. I decided to start looking at the underlying issues and the causes because I wanted to be the best that I could, not just for me, but for my children. And so as I did that, I found self discovery.
mm,
And so in self discovery, I had to discover who I was so that I could love me.
yes. Yeah, yeah, and that's what I was saying. I'm not sure we're going to go back and look at to see how this is panning out because the servers is acting funny. I don't think we want to get this out, but we're going to get it out. Um, but that is one of the things that I see the most is um victims of domestic and sexual assault. They're preyed on because they have this heart, the way they want to just give. They just want to love. And like you said, a lot of times it's because they either haven't received the love that they needed as a child and or they don't know how to love themselves. And so they're constantly looking for someone else. I often say you're looking for love in all the wrong places when you need to look in the mirror, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And I think that you were saying about the self-discovery. So what did self-discovery disclose to you about you?
Self discovery, I had to look at what I was doing to contribute to myself and putting myself in harmful situations. So I had to start being safe with me. I had to start being safe about me and protecting me.
Hmm.
And then as I did that, I started putting boundaries in place. I then finally was able to say no.
Hmm.
I didn't know how to say no before,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
and that left me a victim so many times because I would lay there and suffer.
Hmm.
I would go through stuff and I would basically self harm myself by other people's actions. And so I had to come into full awareness of who I was. And I had to remove myself. And in removing myself, I felt God put me in isolation like a butterfly in a cocoon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I had to spend that alone time. I had to look at, why do I do this? What are my triggers? What are the reasons behind this? And then I found out about depression and PTSD. And I suffered from, I didn't want to be alone. So
Yeah.
I had to start getting to know me and what I liked, because I was so used to forming to other people and
Mm-hmm.
what they wanted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was a big thing for me to go out to eat by myself, go to the movies by myself, to be by myself. I cried a whole lot. I would call people on FaceTime, look, just talk to me while I'm sitting at this table.
I was
But
just gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you like what type of things, because there's a woman. There are women that are looking at this right now and saying, okay, well, how do I do that? What do I do? And the first thing I would say is learn to date yourself. You know,
yes,
and
hmm
so some people don't understand what that is, but it's just what Charlie Ann is saying. It's taking yourself out to eat. It's going to the movies. I remember the first time I took myself to the movies, I was like, I know these people are looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, why is this woman in here by herself? She must be so, oh, don't nobody want to be with her. She comes to the movies by herself. Now, well, before the pandemic, it meant nothing. I was excited to go to the movies, yeah, by myself. I didn't, it was like, I'll go with, no, I'm good. I didn't want nobody to go because I wanted that time for me. And it's so important that we as women, we learn to have that time for us. I I will say all the time, women, we tend to suck at self-soothing. We don't do a
yes,
good job at it. Like, because at day one, we're giving a baby doll or a teddy bear something to take care of. And we
yes,
use that all through our lives. And that becomes what we are conditioned to do. And I
yes,
often say, make sure that you're not setting yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Like, don't do that.
yes. That is so true. I was I would feel bad when I would go out and I would say, I'm going to buy me some jeans or a shirt or something. And then I get in the store and I see something for the kids. And then by the time I get to the register, I put my stuff back and everything for them. And I had to get to a point where I couldn't feel guilty about taking care of me,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because now when I look at it and I talk to other women, you have to leave some Kool-Aid in your cup for yourself.
That's right. That's right.
And I started on a weekly basis. I love flowers. I love gummy bears. The things that I love, I started buying me little things. I started taking myself out on a date. I would buy me a dress, I would get pretty, and I would go out just for me.
Yes.
And I was like, man, this feels so good. So then I started saying to myself, I can't put up with that. I can't allow certain things to happen to me no more. And you're gonna get that pushback. You're gonna get people being angry. You're gonna get people saying you're acting funny. No, I'm loving me.
Correct.
And I'm no longer gonna let you mishandle, misuse, and abuse me.
Right.
And so when you start standing up for yourself, you're gonna get pushed back.
How did you deal with the pushback?
At first, I cried when I got away from the people, but I was like, this is the best for me, because you would want me to be happy. You wouldn't want me to self harm myself or self sacrifice myself for you if you really cared about me. And when you get around people that genuinely love you and care about you, they handle you in a whole different way.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So how do you deal with those moments when you can look back at the past and you can look at where you were and where you are now. Um, let me not assume. Do you have moments where you find yourself dipping back into that people pleasing stage? And if so, how do you deal with it now?
I have to constantly talk to myself. I have to remind myself who God says I am, who I am, and it's their loss, not mine.
That's correct. That is correct. I often we say a lot. Once you know your worth, it's hard to be around people that want a discount. Like, nah, can't do it.
Yes. In saying that, I met a gentleman. Um, Sex to me for a moment meant nothing because of how I was introduced
Hmm.
to sex. So I didn't associate sex with love.
Mm.
That was just to please the other person. And I was dating this guy for about 3 months and he was cool and we didn't have any issues. And he told me one day, he said, "What are we doing?" And I said, "We're getting to know each other." And he was like, "Well, I can't be with anybody that's not going to be intimate with me." And I looked at him, I said, "Well, you have a blessed life." And he said, "Are you serious?" And I said, "Yeah."
That's right.
He said, "Well, I let you do your church stuff." I said, "You don't let me do nothing."
Right.
It's not about that. My value and my standards and what I have for me right now, you're not going to overrule it.
Exactly.
I'm going to stand my
Exactly.
ground. So if you cannot talk to me or deal with me because I cannot give you what you desire, you cannot give me what I desire.
That's correct. That's correct.
And I'm sorry. So then it's like, well, you lost a good person and you lost a good person.
Yeah.
Because
We have
if
to
that's
set
something that
boundaries.
leads you, that's on you.
Right. Correct. Correct. Well, I'm glad that you stood up and made that boundary because so many women can't do it because they are afraid of being alone. They are afraid of that alone time. And you mentioned something that was really key. You were saying how you was placed in a cocoon as a butterfly, and I often say that I even have a butterfly tattoo that reminds me that I'm a butterfly. Um,
Yes, me too.
but to remind you, there are going to be times that you're going to feel very isolated. You're going to feel like you're in a cocoon. You're going to feel like no one is there. But it's in those moments that you are growing. So what was the biggest lesson that you found while you was in a cocoon?
The biggest lesson that I found while I was in the cocoon was that I was the salt of the earth.
What does that mean?
I had to go back to that scripture. You are the salt of the earth. You are the flavor. You know, um, just I had to keep reminding myself who I was, and I had to stand up for myself in these moments. And I just spent a lot of time talking to God, and I had to reassure, encourage myself in these times. And anything that wasn't for me, for it to be removed away from me. And I just had to be bold and courageous in these times. I couldn't wimp down because when I think about before, I've already been there so many times before. And I did not want to go back. I was determined I was not going to live the life that I had lived.
Yes. Yeah.
It was damaging, it was heartbreaking, it was a vicious cycle that puts you in a dark place. And I wanted to live in light.
Mm, mm.
I wanted to live in light. And I had to live on purpose with the purpose.
Exactly. I love it. You said that you just said that you knew you had to go back to that scripture where it says you are the salt of the world and that you are the flavor. So if you had to define or describe your flavor to the world now, what would it be?
um, I'm a light. I'm a light. I am the star. I am the showstopper.
Come
We
on.
all we all are the authors of our life. You have the power, you have the control of your life. And I tell so many people now, take your life back. You have the power. Don't live in darkness. It is time to walk in light.
Yes, yes, I
Yes.
love it. I love it. So now that you're excuse me, you're walking in this light and you're coaching people and you got this going on and you feeling good about yourself. What's next for Carlie Ann? Like, so tell us about the book and tell us about what's going on right now.
Okay, are you better than? Are you better than your past? Are you better than what people say? Are you better than the things that you've been through? So many people do not realize that I am better than that.
Exactly.
So, one of my words is loneliness. I had to get over loneliness. I'm better than loneliness.
Right.
And so I just pushed that so hard. Are You Better Than tells my life story of being a young girl in the shadows of her mother, being molested and raped, and then being a stripper, a high end call girl, and then just telling God one day, I can't do this no more. I surrender, I walk away,
Mm,
and I'm going to follow you. I trust you. And going through homelessness, losing everything, but God kept his word, and his word was true. He gave me back everything that I thought I lost.
mm-hmm.
And it's just a breath of fresh air now.
Yeah.
And it feels so good writing this book, being transparent, being honest, helping other women to see them in full bloom.
Yes.
Right
Yes.
now, I'm in full bloom.
Come on. Yes. Yes. I would say I am in the respring of my life. This is the new spring. Like, and
Yes,
we have to get in that mindset of realizing that our lives go in cycles. And
yes,
it don't mean that you will never go back to a winter or you will never go back to a fall. But know and realize and celebrate the spring. When you're in the spring, celebrate it and don't be
yes,
ashamed of it. Like I'm blooming. I'm like, let's bloom.
yes,
Because there was so many times that the world, my life was covered with death.
yes.
In the wintertime, everything dies out. So it's like a
Mhm.
winter moment. And now that I'm spring, we got to make sure that we don't allow people to come in and dump their snow on us. No, baby, I'm a whole flower. You got to go take that somewhere else.
That's right. That's right. And that's the beauty of it. When you recognize who you are and you have your power, we're going to go through dark seasons. We're going to go through stuff. But I look at that as your reset.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, every month I have made it my business to travel. I get gone once a month and I do things that I never thought I would do. Um, about 3 weeks ago, I went to Charlotte. I went on a personal helicopter ride. I am terrified of heights. I am conquering my fears. I am living out my dreams. Whether I got to go do it by myself, I'm doing it. I'm not waiting on people. The time is not right. I'm in go mode
Yes,
and
yes,
I
yes.
am living my life to the fullest. Um, being a domestic violence advocate, rape advocate, um, surviving trauma. I was married to a narcissist for 17 years. So I have a group called Surviving Edward. And in Edward, I tell everybody, live your life. So
Mm,
on my journey of healing, um, my adventures are amazing. And I'm going to do everything that I could not do, everything that I was isolated not to do, everything that was said that I couldn't do. I am doing it because we only have one life to live.
you said the name of your group is Surviving Inward?
Surviving Edward.
Edward.
Yes,
All right. So
because
we're going to put that in the show notes so that people can find it. Is it on Facebook?
yes, it is. And it's also on Instagram.
Okay. All right. We'll make sure that we put that out there for them to be able to find it and really get into it. Because yes, being married to a narcissist, I'm saying how I feel is hell. I mean,
Yes,
there is no other. if there's ever hell on earth, you know how we always say heaven on earth. If there's ever hell on earth, it's being with the narcissist. It's horrible. So I understand. So I'm just excited. I look forward to like even more things with you. And I was so glad that, you reached out and said, Tina, hey, I want to talk. I want to share this. I want, like, can I come
Yes.
into the SheShed? I'm like, absolutely, girl. So
Thank you.
that is what this is about. We have to, like I said, when women speak up, we give permission for other women to speak up. And I am
Yes.
so excited. So if people want to get in contact with you, other than the Surviving Edward, because I'm going to put that in the showcase, in the show notes, how can they reach Carlie Ann?
You can reach me on Facebook, Carlie Ann. You can also reach me on Instagram, Surviving the Narc Edward. My group on Facebook is Surviving Edward, and then Divine Harmony Ministry.
All right. All right. So I have all that, and I promise to put it in the show notes for you all so that you can go out and you can support my girl. Because here's the thing: when you are a survivor, you need to surround yourself with others, not so you can compare your stories, but so you can remember. And you can have those, when you have those moments, you have someone that has empathy and that can help you come back out, not so you can stay in it. Because so often what we will do is we will attract to individuals with that story. And then when that story changes, you have nothing in common with them. And you're trying to figure
Yes.
out well, why did I even like you? Because we shared trauma. Stop sharing
Yes.
trauma with people.
Trauma bonding. And that's what I talk about in my group. I educate people on different terms, the cycles, the things that you go through, you're not understanding.
Mhm.
And it is serious. You
It is
know,
very serious. Mhm.
mentally you get sick, physically you get sick, all of this stuff, depression, anxiety, it's just like a cycle of being almost bipolar. People's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this stuff? You don't even know why you're doing half of the stuff that you're doing. You're on an emotional roller coaster,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
know?
and one of the other things too that I have seen with a lot of clients is you either 100% people pleaser, or you're over here and you have narcissistic tendencies because you don't want to help no one. You don't want to be bothered with anyone. And you have to find that middle ground because that's
Yes,
where your healing is going to be. But it is a process. And I am so glad that you have went through the
yes,
process and that you are exploring the spring of Carlie Ann. This is amazing.
yes.
I can't wait to see even more and connect more with you.
Thank you.
So if you
Thank
will
you.
hold on for me for 1 minute, I'm going to close us out and talk to my people, and then I'm going to come back and talk with you. Hold on a moment.
All right.
All right, so y'all heard it from your girl. Y'all heard it. She said it. She said it loud. She said, okay, it's time for y'all to get y'all life together, get your act together, because if you don't, no one is coming. No one is coming to help you. You're gonna have to help yourself. And I love the fact that one of the things she said was she realized she had to make a change. She realized that it was up to her. And as hard as it was, and as hard as that it will be, it is, what's the word I want to use? It is essential that you take the time to discover who you are. It is essential that you take the time to date yourself. Take yourself on to the movies. Take yourself out to eat. It's just like Carlie Ann was saying, even if you have to pick up the phone and call somebody throughout the time that you're eating so you don't feel real lonely, eventually to get to the point that you don't want nobody, you will not even answer the phone if somebody calls you because you are so determined to have that space for yourself. But it is up to you. It is up to you. And this is not about saying, blaming you for what you went through. Absolutely not. But it is about helping you to realize that you are responsible for your healing. You are responsible for changing the things it is. And if you can't do it by yourself, that's why you have people like us out here to help you. You're going to have to reach out and you're going to have to say, okay, I need help. I need to figure out a plan. And that's what we're here to do, is to help you find a plan. So if you are in that situation and you are outside of the abuse and you're looking for resources, I encourage you, reach out. If you are currently in an abusive or sexual assault situation, I just put the number on the screen. I need you to reach out. I need you to reach out because you deserve better. Remember, you are the boss. You are the CEO of your own life. And that's what the Boss Up podcast is all about, showing you how to be the CEO of your own life. And remember, boss means bold, optimistic, strategic, and self reliant. And baby girl, while you are the CEO, you get a chance to promote, demote, and terminate anything and anyone in your life that's no longer serving you purpose. So I encourage you, put your name on your door. Put your name on your door and claim your right as the CEO of your life. I love you, and I'll see you all next week. Bye bye.